A new job. Charlie sat in front of his monitor rereading the strange job listing. Moderator of a private forum. Remote work, high salary, flexible hours. It all sounded too good to be true. And that's exactly what made it unsettling. The forum was called The Archive. And Charlie had never heard of it before. No ads, no public information, not even a hint about its owners. He tried searching for any mentions of it online. Nothing. No reviews, no data, just emptiness. But the offer seemed real, so Charlie sent in an application. An interview that never happened. He expected a standard interview, but there was no response the next day, nor the day after. Then an email arrived. "Welcome to the team. Here are your login credentials." No name, no signature, just a username and password. Charlie frowned. This was unusual. Normally, companies at least screen their employees. But here he had been accepted without a single question. He logged into the forum and froze. A strange interface. The forum looked old, but functional. Dark background, simple text-based posts, few images. But something about it felt off. Charlie couldn't quite put his finger on it, but the forum gave him a strange sense of unease. He opened the moderator panel and found the rules. Moderation rules. Delete spam, bots, and duplicate posts. Do not comment on discussions. Do not delete posts from user ID 4329. The third rule made him pause. Why was one specific user immune? Charlie checked the user list. ID 4329 was there, but there was no information attached to the account. The first logical flaw. Charlie tried to check 4329's registration date. The field was empty. He opened the activity log to see when they last logged in. Empty. He even tried sending them a message. The system responded. Error. User not found. But their posts were everywhere. Charlie reread the rules. Do not delete posts from user ID 4329. Who was this user? And why were their posts untouchable? But he didn't ask questions, because he had already been accepted. The first ominous signs. For the first few days, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Charlie simply did his job, removing spam, banning bots, keeping things in order. The forum was active. People discussed various topics, from abandoned buildings to conspiracy theories. But among all those posts, there was something strange. ID 4329. This user never commented, never joined discussions. They only created new threads. A strange writing style. Charlie noticed that 4329's posts were odd. They had no titles, no structure, just chunks of text. Words strung together with no clear meaning, as if someone was leaving diary entries or spilling out scattered thoughts. Charlie tried to understand them, but the more he read, the worse he felt. The text seemed disjointed, but something about them sent a chill down his spine. 3 knocks on the door. Silence. Someone whispering on the stairs. 2 mani 47 நிமிடம். A blue backpack, a shattered phone screen. Time frozen at 1823. They are watching. They are always watching. Charlie couldn't explain why these messages made his skin crawl, but he kept reading. Coincidence or not? The next day, Charlie stumbled upon a news report. An accident. A man fell from a second-story window. Time of the incident, 2:47 a.m. Charlie felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He went back to the forum, reread the post. 3 knocks on the door. Silence. Someone whispering on the stairs. 2 mani 47 நிமிடம். A coincidence? He decided to check other messages. And then, another news report. A teenager was in a car accident. Witnesses said that at the moment of impact, his phone screen displayed 1823. Charlie sank into his chair. 4,329's posts. They weren't just random nonsense. They were describing events that hadn't happened yet. Charlie closed the forum, but something inside him shifted. He couldn't ignore this anymore. And this was only the beginning. Charlie stared at the screen. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He felt like he needed to do something, to check, to report, to tell someone. But he couldn't. What could he even say? Hey, I work as a moderator on a weird forum and one of the users is predicting accidents. It sounded insane. Charlie took a deep breath and opened the list of threads again. 4,329's posts, there were so many. He started scrolling, and then he noticed something else. There's no beginning. On normal forums, you can always find a user's first post, see when they joined, what their earliest messages were. But 4,329 was different. Their posts just kept going. Charlie scrolled and scrolled, but there was no first post, as if they had always been here, as if they were part of the forum itself. Charlie opened the search bar, tried to find their earliest post, error. He searched by specific dates, error. He searched posts from a year ago, error, as if this user never joined the forum, as if they had always been here. Something is wrong with the name. Charlie tried copying ID 4329 and pasting it into the search bar, and then the screen flickered. The cursor froze. And then other numbers appeared, not the ones he typed. 4, 3, 2, 9, then 2 more numbers. And they kept changing. 43, 29, 17. 43, 29, 18. 43, 29, 19. Charlie's fingers turned ice cold. Whatever this was, it was updating. It was happening in a real time. He tried to erase the numbers, but they came back. He closed the search bar, returned to the main page, and saw a new post. A new post from 4329. Charlie slowly opened the thread. His heartbeat was so loud he could hear it in his ears. The text was short. Someone is searching for things they shouldn't find. Charlie swallowed hard. This post had appeared just now. At the exact moment he was trying to investigate. He checked the timestamp. It was updating. As if the message was being written right now, and then the text changed. Window, silence, dark screen, 312. Charlie froze. He slowly turned his head toward the window and saw his own reflection. Except it wasn't moving like him. Descent into horror. Charlie jerked away from the screen. For a split second, his reflection in the window didn't move. It remained frozen, as if it hadn't caught up with him yet. Then slowly, it mirrored his movement. A trick of perception. Just nerves. That's what Charlie tried to tell himself, but he didn't believe it. He closed the forum tab, but deep inside, a sense of unease lingered. The feeling that he had stepped somewhere forbidden, and now it knew he was here. An attempt to forget. Charlie decided to stay away from the forum for a day, just to distract himself. But the next day, the forum reminded him. He opened his laptop intending to watch something on YouTube, but when he typed in the address, the page didn't load correctly. Instead, a search bar appeared, empty. Charlie frowned. He tried again, typed YouTube, and hit enter. This time, the search bar was not empty. It had words. "You will come back, won't you?" Panic! Charlie slammed his laptop shut. His chest tightened with panic. What the hell was happening? Was this some kind of virus, or had someone hacked into his device? He turned off the laptop, but the thought wouldn't let him go. He knew when this all started. After he tried to find 4,329's first post, he had broken an unwritten rule, and now the forum didn't want to let him go. A dream. That wasn't a dream that night. Charlie couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt it, like he wasn't alone in the room. Somewhere beyond the edges of his mind, a presence lingered, watching, waiting, and then a knock. 3 knocks. Dull. Distant. As if they were echoing through layers of sleep. Charlie couldn't move, couldn't open his eyes. He was trapped inside his own body. The knocks came again, and then a whisper. "You know they're watching, don't you? Wake up." Charlie jerked upright, gasping for air. The room was dark, but he knew something had changed. His laptop was on. The screen glowed in the darkness. He was certain he had turned it off. But now, the forum page was open. A new post. From 4,329. "Wake up, they're already here." Charlie didn't move. Didn't get out of bed. Didn't approach the laptop. But the cursor, it moved by itself, slowly, drifting toward the button. Open message. Charlie couldn't look away. And then, the chair in front of his desk, it slid back, slowly, as if someone had just sat down at his computer. But Charlie was alone in the room. Or was he? They are already here. Charlie couldn't move. The chair in front of his laptop was pulled back, as if someone had just sat down. But he was alone in the room. The cursor on the screen moved on its own. Slowly, it drifted toward the new message from 4329. Charlie wasn't touching the mouse, but he saw the message open by itself. A new message. The text appeared, letter by letter. Your chair creaks when you move, but you haven't moved, have you? Charlie froze. He hadn't made a sound, but the message already knew. He carefully shifted his gaze to the chair. The fabric of the seat cushion was slowly compressing, as if someone was sitting there. A chill ran down Charlie's spine. He was no longer alone. Footsteps behind the wall. And then a sound. Footsteps, coming from behind the wall, slow, measured, as if someone was wandering inside his apartment, but his door was locked. How was that possible? He held his breath. The footsteps stopped, and then a scraping sound, like a fingernail dragging along the other side of the wall. Charlie couldn't take it anymore. He lunged towards his laptop to close the forum, but the screen refreshed. They know you can see them. A new line of text appeared instantly. You know you're not supposed to look? At that moment, the lights flickered, and in the screen's reflection, he saw it. A silhouette. Tall. Gaunt. Standing in the corner of his room. Charlie leapt out of bed, but his reflection lagged behind, as if he wasn't looking at a real mirror, but at someone's dream of him. The silhouette moved. Charlie rushed to the door. He grabbed the handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked. The last message. He turned back to the screen. The last post from 4329. You opened the door. Now they will enter. Behind him. The doorknob slowly began to turn. The door opens. Charlie gripped the handle, trying to hold it in place, but it kept turning, slowly, effortlessly, as if no one was touching it from the other side, as if it was opening on its own. He slammed his fist against the door. It didn't even shake. Whatever was behind it didn't obey normal rules. The darkness beyond the threshold. The door cracked open just a few inches, and Charlie saw there was no hallway, no walls, no light, just emptiness. A void so black that it swallowed everything. But something moved inside it. He couldn't see it, but he felt it. Shapes. Shifting, reaching. They knew he was watching. They knew he was afraid. They looked back. From the darkness, a sound emerged. A deep, shuddering breath, like something had just woken up. Charlie stumbled backward. The door kept opening, soundlessly, as if reality itself was inviting him in. A desperate attempt to escape. He lunged for his laptop, tried to close the tab, shut down the forum, anything. But the cursor froze. The screen flickered. And then it started typing on its own. You are already there. Charlie froze. Where? What did that mean? He looked around. His room was wrong. The light felt dimmer, the furniture had blurred, out of focus, as if he was looking at it through fogged glass. The final warning. The screen glitched again. A new message. You know you're not supposed to look. A breath right behind him, cold, slow, measured. Charlie couldn't turn around, but he saw it in the screen's reflection. A silhouette. Tall, unnaturally thin, its features blurred, as if erased by time. It leaned toward him and whispered, in his own voice, "Welcome to the archive. The vanishing." Charlie never had time to scream. The door swung wide open. Reality shattered like old film burning away. The darkness swallowed him whole. On the screen, one last message. ID 4329 updated. The forum remained. But now, it had a new moderator, rumors and curiosity. The forum, the archive, was a ghost on the internet. No one knew who created it or how to access it. But among hackers, rumors spread. It's not just a forum. People who work there disappear. Those who tried to hack it either lost their memories or started seeing strange things. These stories were bizarre but unproven, until one person decided to investigate them personally, entering without a key. His name was Kane. He wasn't just a hacker. He breached closed networks, found lost websites, and uncovered things most people never knew existed. And now he had a new target, a forum that shouldn't exist. Kane found mentions of the archive buried in the old archive pages, websites deleted 10 years ago, forums left abandoned without moderation. threads that no one had ever posted, but in all of them there was one eerie detail. Fragments of messages that matched real-life events. Knocking on the window, darkness beyond the door, 3:12. Red lights, a shattered glass door, August 2023. All of these things had already happened, which meant the forum was real. Slipping into the shadows. After 3 days of work, Kane finally found a trace, a hidden server. It was buried deep in the darknet, but it had an unusual defense mechanism, a system that didn't rely on passwords. The site recognized those who tried to enter. Kane launched his tools, bypassed the security, forced the page to load. The screen flickered. The forum opened. But Kane didn't realize what he had just done. He hadn't hacked the site. He had let the site hack him. The first warning. Kane began browsing the posts, and then he saw them. Entries that shouldn't exist. Predictions. Threads created before real-life events happened. But then, he noticed a new topic, posted just 1 minute ago. The title, Hello Kane. Kane clicked. The text was short. You know you're not supposed to look. His screen glitched, all his tabs disappeared, only the forum remained. You're already here. Kane felt something shift in the room. He turned around, and in the dark reflection of his screen, something was standing behind him. The hack that failed. Kane froze. The screen remained unchanged, but in the reflection of the monitor, something stood behind him. A figure, tall, blurred, like a corrupted image. He spun around. Nothing. But something had changed. The air in the room felt heavier. Kane looked back at the screen. You're already here. He quickly typed a command into the console, trying to force close the forum. Error. He tried disconnecting the Wi-Fi. Error. The system wasn't responding. What the hell? And then, a new post appeared on the forum, created just now. You know you're not supposed to turn it off. The screen went black. The forum won't let go. Kane pushed himself away from the desk. The room was dark, but he heard a faint sound. Drip. Drip. Like water dripping somewhere. But there were no faucets, no leaks. The sound was coming from the monitor. Kane, his hands trembling, pressed the power button. The screen flashed back on. The forum was still open. But now, there was only one thread. Are you ready to see? The cursor moved on its own, dragging toward the button. Open thread. Kane yanked the power cable. The screen went dark, but in the black reflection of the monitor, he saw it again. A shadow, standing behind him, moving just a fraction slower than he did. They are already here. Drip, drip, drip. The sound grew louder, closer. Kane grabbed his phone. Wi-Fi was off. But a notification appeared. New order, archive. What the hell? He had never ordered anything from the darknet. He tapped the notification. The page didn't load. Instead, someone started typing in real time. Don't turn around. Kane froze, but he could already hear them, soft footsteps, the rustling of fabric. They were standing behind him. You opened the door. Now we are coming in. Kane shut his eyes, but it didn't help. He felt a breath right next to his ear, and then a whisper. Welcome to the archive. The last attempt. Kane didn't move. The breath against his ear was gone, but he knew. They were still here. Silence. He clenched his fists. What now? How do you escape? The forum was code, a system, and if a system can be hacked, then it can be shut down. Slowly he opened his eyes. The monitor flickered on by itself. You think you can leave? Kane didn't answer. He opened the terminal. His fingers moved fast. Force disconnect override system shutdown process _4329. The screen flickered. The forum shuddered like it was breaking apart. But just before the page vanished, one last post. You've done your part. Now, pass it on. Kane hesitated. Pass what? And then... His phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. You know who to send it to. And in that moment, Kane understood. The forum didn't kill people, it replaced them. Someone had to stay, for someone else to leave. The deal. He looked around. The room seemed normal again. No shadows, no footsteps, just his computer waiting. On the screen, a single input field. Enter a name. Kane knew what it meant. He could type any name, and then the forum would release him, but someone else would take his place, just like Charlie, just like all the others before him. Kane hesitated, and then he typed a name, pressed enter. The screen went black. A new cycle. A few days later, Kane's friend Mark received a strange email. Welcome to the team. Here are your login credentials. No signature, no name, just a username and a password. The forum had found a new moderator. And Kane? He was free, but sometimes, at night, he could still hear that same whisper. You know you're not supposed to look, and deep down, he understood. You never truly leave the archive. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more eerie tales. Would you take the risk and open the archive? Let us know in the comments below. Bye. See you in the next videos.